Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Nikki the Bombshell Biker, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very special guest, Miss Aussie in the Indian. She is joining us from Australia. Thank you for joining us for our monthly Momma Mafia get-together.
Oh, the Momma Mafia.
Yeah. So every month we try and get together and do something fun. This is my month, and I really wanted to sit down and talk to Aussie. And just, she's a badass lady, and we're all about that. So This is Aussie. Aussie, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, hi, everyone. I'm known as the Aussie and the Indian because I ride an Indian and I'm an Aussie. Well, an Indian motorbike, that is, not an Indian person. Although that's an interesting thought. That's a visual I have to probably get out of my head eventually. So my name is Chris, and my bike is, she's called Calamity Jane. Some people will say I'm Calamity and the bike's Jane. So we have a massive identity crisis, but it's the two of us. Someone posted the other day, post a picture of you and your love when you first met and how long you've been together. There's all these pictures of these lovebirds everywhere, and then I just stuck up me and my motorbike. That was me.
Well, that's awesome. Well, let's talk about your motorcycle, because you have such a unique, beautiful bike. And the reason I got my bike wrapped was because you told us that your bike was a wrap, and I blew my mind. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, mine was a black bike, and I had a clear idea of what I wanted it to look like. I wanted it to look like it had been sitting in a shed for the last 70 or 100 years. And those guys that you have over there, the American pickers, found it. They put $1 million on it, and I had $1 million bucks in my pocket, and I bought it.
Very good.
I create that real vintage vibe, and then I really like that steampunk design stuff and that slightly equestrian thing. Even though I don't ride horses, but I love them. And so yeah, I just started that design process, and the only thing that would work was a wrap. Because I talked to a few spray painters and stuff like that, but they couldn't do it. So a wrap it was. So I think it worked fine. I think a wrap is a great option, actually.
Oh yeah,
and you've got the shark thing on the tank.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, I've been looking at that since you guys did the expo thing just recently.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do it to a motorcycle or a car, any kind of vehicle, really. I've just always wanted to. And so when we got Lucy, we had talked about changing it and doing something. And I told the beard, I was like, that's what I want. I want it to look like a plane, and I want it to look badass. And so we found someone local that just killed it. And we're still adding more parts and little odds and ends. We just got some ammo cans for the saddlebags this week. So those will be going on soon.
What did you get? Sorry, for the saddlebags. What did you say?
Ammo cans, like old ammo cans.
Oh, like ammunition things. Oh, terrific. Yeah. Oh, I love doing all that stuff. Yeah, like I'm still finding bits and pieces. I swear, I reckon I've added like 100 kilos to that bike. I have this philosophy that the bigger that bike looks, the smaller I look. So I know there's no more diets for me. I just keep adding shit to that bike. I reckon it's 400 kilos. I know you're not in metric over there. I don't know what that is in pounds. Someone should be Googling it right now.
I'm sure
I know it's a lot. It's one heavy ass bike, that's for sure. It's massive. She's a big old broad. I look tiny on it. It's fabulous.
So that's what I've been doing wrong all these years. I just need a bigger bike.
The total strategy, yeah.
So speaking of riding, when did you start riding?
Oh, I was in my early 20s. So it was sort of around the time I started, just before I had babies. And so newly married, my then husband rode, and he had a Harley Davidson. When we came to Australia, I met and married him in the UK. I was tripping around doing the typical Aussie thing. It's a rite of passage us Australians have to do once we leave school, and that is to hitchhike around Europe. So I did that because it was part of the thing. It's expected of you to become that sort of on the road hippie hitchhiking back in the day. So I I worked in a pub in the UK. Anyway, I met my husband then and got married, and then I convinced him to come to the colonies. Of all the Englishmen I had to marry one that didn't actually want to come to Australia, because they all bloody will want to come to Australia. They're lining up to get visas to come to Australia, but I picked the one in the UK that didn't want to come. Anyway, I convinced him, and so anyway, to keep him happy, I said, get a motorbike, you know, whatever it takes to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, he pillioned me, and I really hated being a pillion. I just felt there was no control.
Mm-hmm.
I went through the process of getting my license. I got a little 250 Suzuki. It fell to bits the very day I could upgrade to a bigger motor. So over here, you've got to ride for about a year on a 250 or less. Oh, sorry, no, a 500 or less, 500cc or less. That's one of the reasons why the Harley Davidson, the 500cc thing, it's called a learner legal. They're called learner legals over here.
Okay.
So any bike 500cc or less is what you've got to start on. You have no choice.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, Harleys have that's quite popular over here for learners.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I then went on, once I got my full license, I went on to a Harley Davidson 883 Sportster Custom, which I had all customized as well. It was a beautiful red tank, and I had a logo put on it of this crazy character from this artist called Brom. Actually, he's from America. And fascinating stuff, you know, that sort of gothic-y steam vibe again. So I had the tank all painted in that. Mm-hmm. I love that little bike. You know, I threw that around like a BMX. I swear, I don't think I've ever ridden as well as I have when I was in Sportster. I used to just, oh my God, I didn't do wheel stands, but, you know, I was on the verge.
Yeah.
And then I did what happens to all motorbike riders, is that you start to want bigger. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
Godzilla says size does matter. Size does matter. Godzilla knows. So I went from that to a Dyna wide glide, only for a short while. Then I went to this Heritage Softail Deluxe, and I felt that was too big. Isn't that ridiculous? I'm saying on this friggin' thing that's massive. So I left the Deluxe, even though it was a beautiful ride, and went back into the Dyna range and was on a Fat Bob.
Oh, okay. For
a while, and then Indian was coming to Australia, and I used to go into the showroom, and because they were with Victory motorbikes, and they had a big motor on the plinth, a big V-twin motor, and I used to look at it and go, oh my God, that's huge, that's massive. So I said, oh, they're going to be too big for me. And then they came in, and I'd go in and look at them, and eventually I ended up trading in the Fat Bob on the Vintage Chief. That's awesome. I'll be honest with you, it was, I mean, I love the story of Indian. I love the backstory, and I just love them. But I must admit, it took me a few weeks, if not a couple of months, to really click into feeling comfortable on the Indian, because it's so, you know, I felt a little bit intimidated because it is so big. And, you know, the turning circle on the Vintage is because the rake is a little bit longer. So I do that duck walk thing sometimes. I'm better now, but in the beginning, I just looked ridiculous. I was trying to turn this bloody thing around, and I was just duck walking all the time. But I'm okay now. But it took a while. It took a while to click in, and you know, I often say to girls that get them, I go, you know, don't just hang in there, because it does click. It does click. And now I feel quite confident on it. And I mean, I don't throw it around like I used to throw around the Sporty. That was, you know, but mind you, I went on the FTR a couple of weeks ago. I'm the first one in the world to review the FTR.
That's awesome.
That's up on my YouTube channel.
Oh, good. I'll check it out.
From the perspective of a 60-year-old grandmother, mind you, I'm totally not the demographic Indian want to be riding an FTR. I know that, and I actually say that. But anyway, the Indian heads over here were really happy with what I did.
Oh, good.
So yeah, that's up on my YouTube channel. It's you know, I think it's something like, you know, 60-year-old grandmother reviews the FTR. What the?
That's awesome. I know the Beard loved it. I think he's ridden it like 3 times.
Oh,
He
they're
loves
fun.
it so much.
Like, I loved it. Like, if I want one. But
really?
yeah, I don't know that I can have more than one bike, because I don't know that I can share the love around as much. I just can't. It'd be like, what do I take out? And I already have a little scooter that I buzz around Sydney in, and I've done that up to look like Calamity Jane. I've done that up, and that's called Sweet Baby Jane. But I've got to say, Dazzle Rebel rides, one of the guys, when I did the FTR review, he said, I said, I want one, but what would I call it? And he reckons I should get one and call it G.I. Jane. So I'd have Calamity Jane, G.I. Jane, and Sweet Baby Jane.
Oh, I love it.
Love them. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But they're a lot of fun. So, yeah, I sort of I could see myself throwing that around. Like, after I got home, I wanted to get on a flat track and I wanted to race it. I wanted to take it on the road and go adventure riding. So, planted the seed now. It's in my head. I might just do it. Who knows?
Oh, funny. I know. I want to get my sister on one, just because she was big into dirt bikes, and I really think if she had pursued it, she'd be up there with like Vicky Golden, and it would be unreal.
Oh, right.
And I told her, I was like, I really want you to go to a demo day with me, and I really want you to get on this bike, because she's never even done like a demo day in her life.
Really?
And she's been riding since she was like 16. Like her 16th birthday, my dad rolled in on her first bike, and that was what started it. And so I told her, I was like, I really want you to just come play with me. Like, come down, ride some motorcycles with me, and like just go. But she's one of those real full-time moms, and her kids need her all the time because they're a little crazy. And so she's like, one of these days. But we're going to Babes Ride Out, and Harley will actually have demo bikes there. So I told her, I was like, while we're there, you're going to get on some bikes that you don't own, and you're going to ride bikes you don't have to pay the gas for.
That'd be great. Well, that's when I stopped riding for a bit when I had the babies, and I sort of just gave it away for a short while, and then I sort of picked it on it seriously again later on in my sort of late 30s. Then my marriage fell to bits, and then I, that's what I said. That's when I married motorbikes. It's so much easier.
Right. I mean, like, I love the Beard, but my bike's a lot easier most days.
I know the guys don't want to hear this, but, it's just sort of like less maintenance. Yeah. Oh. Anyway.
So
that was it. Yep.
So another question for you. What's been your favorite ride? Like, what journey have you gone on with Calamity that's just been like your favorite ride?
Oh, well, I gotta say, I love the south coast of New South Wales. In fact, I've just put up a little short video. I lost most of my footage, but I managed to get like 5 minutes. But the south coast of New South Wales is absolutely beautiful. So from Sydney, I just keep heading south all the way down to the border of Victoria, and inland and on the coast, it's just divine. But I got to say, my favourite riding, which is not on Calamity, unfortunately, when I come to the States. I've done about 6 trips to America, and I love riding in America. It's like when you guys built the roads, it was like they were all built by motorbike riders. It was like they were building it and they go, we're just going to make the camber this degree because we're just thinking about motorbike riders. Like, I swear to God, they're just beautiful. Our roads are a little bit rough in places. I've hit some massive potholes and had some really rough rides because of the conditions of the roads. So riding in America for me is a bit of a highlight. I'm actually coming over again next year in August.
I heard you're going to Sturgis, right?
For the Sturgis, yeah. So I mean, I'll only be there for maybe 2 days max. I'm actually not a big fan of crowds like that. I mean, I want to see it and I want to experience it. But once I've done that, I'll just want to get out and get on into the back roads and away from all those people.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm not a big group rider either, actually. I'm not. I've done them, but I've come away thinking I have this thing now where I tend to ride with the amount of people that can sit at one table at the end of the journey. That's my limit. Either that or on my own. I do a lot of riding on my own. In fact, I reckon 80% of my riding is by myself, which I quite like. I'm a bit of a loner, actually.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. It wasn't until we had the boys out a couple weeks ago that I really did a lot more group riding than I normally do, because normally it's just me and the beard. And it was really nice. And riding with them was like riding with people you've known your whole life. And
well, they look like a good bunch. I mean, that was quite a nice little tight unit too, wasn't it? From what I've seen. Yeah. I like that. I like just being with a small group.
Yeah.
Those big rides. Anyway, but I'm going to be at Sturgis. You know, I want to experience all Sturgis has to offer. You know, I don't know that I'm going to take my top off and go down the street. I've seen loads of pictures of women doing that. Well, I'm a little bit old.
You know,
I feel like I don't want those things flapping in the wind. Oh, baby. No.
I was like, I'll be right there with you with my shirt on, because the world is not prepared to see all of that. So
definitely not for me. No, it wouldn't be safe at all for other people. Not even for me. It's not even my own safety I'm concerned about. It's the safety of others. But I would love to bring Calamity Jane over, because that bike deserves to ride through America, because it's very influenced. So my plan is, in a few years, not only to ride around Australia. I mean, that's my big plan. I'll in about 3 years, I want to be of no fixed address, and I'm just going to take off and just live for however long. But I do, in that world, I do want to ship Calamity to the States and be there for a minimum of 3 months, just riding.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's the plan. And that's when it's worthwhile shipping your bike over. It's not worth it. The 2 weeks that I'm coming over in August, it's not worth it, because it takes 6 weeks to ship them, you know, and then 6 weeks to come back. So that means I'm without the bike for such a long period of time, and it's quite expensive. I'll be on an Indian when I get over there. I'll be on I don't know what I'll be on, whatever they give me. I'll take anything, and I'll do anything for an Indian. No shame anymore. No shame. I've lived a good life. I don't care anymore what people think of me. Whatever gets me through the night. No, I'm just joking. I'm a responsible grandmother. My babies are asleep up in the room as we speak.
Oh, very nice.
Babysitting all this weekend, so I haven't been on the bike.
Oh, and how old are your grandbabies?
They're 5 and 3.
Oh, so much fun.
Arizona and Sunny Ra in Arizona Bay. Arizona Bay was named after Bill Hicks, a famous American poet, political poet. So he wrote a poem about how he wished LA would just fall off into the ocean so Arizona would have a bay. And my daughter and my son-in-law loved that poem. So they had a little girl and they called her Arizona Bay. Cow and lamb. Sounds like a tourist destination. So can you imagine what that kid's got to go through learning how to write the name? Take a bloody 6 months to get through it. Anyway,
I mean, I don't even use my real name half the time.
No.
Oh, funny. So what is something you never ride without? Rel asked this in our last live chat, and mine is always lipstick, because I always have some kind of lipstick with me always. It's just who I am as a person. Everyone else was like chapstick, and I was like, lipstick.
No, I'm with you, lipstick. I have a lipstick in my front pouch, so you know I don't go anywhere without the lips on. Yeah, no, well, definitely, that would be. I mean, for something like that, lipstick. Yeah, I think I'm with you. But I have music, so I never go. I'm trying to keep this camera on me. So when you do edit this, everything's back to front. Not only are we upside down here, we can't even get. God, they're going to think this fucking crazy Australian. She's all over the fucking shop. And you know what I'm doing? I'm holding my phone. Fucking light. There you go. Look, I'm going to have a cramp in my arm. Oh, that's better. So lipstick is a definite, but I have I have an old Nano iPod, the
Mm-hmm.
little square ones that, you know, so that's, I always have that charge, and I have playlists on that because I've got a speaker system. So I love listening to music a lot of the time, about 70% of the time, but then there's 30% of the time where I just want to hear the bike and nothing else. So music, lipstick, I agree with that one. But I have a sort of a look. So I've got, you know, these round sunglasses that I wear.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a bit of a steampunk thing. And I've got my helmet with all the crap hanging off it. I have my scarves. You know, I wear a lot of sort of leather belts crossed, body crossed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting weirder and weirder. The older I'm getting, the weirder I'm getting. I even got this sort of like old Western bustier thing the other day. So when I'm going to bike shows, I'm actually going to wear that, and like with a sort of a, not a gun holster because we don't have guns over here, but that whole, you know, I can see me in cosplay costume before too long. On Calamity Jane, I will be the human version of Calamity Jane.
That's perfect.
Standing there with, you know, with a plastic toy gun, you know, looking like that. So I think when I ride, I have a bit of a cost. You know, I'm starting to sort of create this wholeness with the bike.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got, you know, the bike's got this character, and I've got this character.
Mm-hmm.
Seem to be evolving that way anyway.
That's awesome. That's cool. All right, so what else do I have up here? And then what advice would you have for fellow lady riders, whether they're just starting out or been on the bike for a while? Any advice you have?
Look, I reckon get a scooter. No, like just a little 125 scooter. And the reason I think a scooter is a good starting point is that you really get a good sense of what it's like to be so open and exposed.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you get a bit of road sense, and you get a bit of worrying about the other cars without worrying about, you know, gears and stuff like that. Like they're, you know, and plus you can wear heels on a scooter. I do. So I think my advice would be, I mean, start with something small, and well, you have to anyway if you're starting out, certainly in this country.
Mm-hmm.
But I really felt when I was riding around on a little scooter, it gave me a lot of road sense. Or if not a scooter, like that off-road stuff,
Mm-hmm.
get off the road and beat around a paddock on a trail bike or something little that you're not too worried about. It's for you to get so comfortable with the connection of you, two wheels, and the road beneath you, or whatever is beneath you. Mm-hmm. So it feels like you're one. So
Mm-hmm.
when you start to feel like you're part of the whole thing going on, you just get a lot of confidence, you know. And look, the first few times I'd jump on a bike, I used to think to myself, how is this legal? Because, you know, in Australia we've had, and I know it's the same in America now, but we've had them for longer, but it's like seat belts are compulsory. Mm-hmm. And you know, there's all these safety mechanisms that all cars need to have, and it's like getting into Fort Knox jumping into a car here. You know, you're so protected, yet you can just jump on a bike and you're just exposed. And I think, how is this legal? I mean, helmets are compulsory over here. We don't have any states where you can't wear a helmet. So, mm-hmm. I mean, when I was in America once before, I was in Arizona, and I rode, I don't know, 50 miles or something without a helmet. And I loved it. I loved it. It was the best feeling. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I understand the safety aspects of, you know, keeping your head protected.
Yeah, absolutely. When we were in Arizona, we got to go helmetless for a little bit. And it was such a cool feeling, but like I would never ride the freeway without one because I don't trust anybody.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. But you got to try it if it's something that you don't normally do. Mm-hmm. I loved it. I love the feeling of, and I love the feeling of not wearing a jacket and just being, you know, not shirtless. Shirtless. Mind you, you know, who knows? Maybe I should try that one day.
Just to say you've done it.
Yeah, I had this troll woman having a go at me once, and then I mean, these trolls, aren't they fantastic?
Oh, they're great.
I
Just
love it.
them.
I do videos called Troll Patrol now, where I expose them. I've done 4. I expose them. I go, this is Troll Patrol number 4. Big shout out to Tina, who tried to lay shit on me about, because I was trying to. There was a funny picture of me trying to park Calamity, and and I was trying to park it in this tight little spot, and I looked crazy, so I posted it, just taking the piss out of myself. And she gets on there going, you shouldn't be riding such a big rig if you can't park it and you can't handle it. I go, oh my God. And she goes on to tell me about, post pictures of her in a rig, and I ride topless, she says. I go, that's real smart, Tina. The bloody gravel rash on those boobies are going to hurt. Oh, dear.
That's amazing. Oh, my goodness.
I love trolls. I'm not getting any trolls lately. They're probably too scared because I expose them. But I say, bring them on. It gives me content. I mean, we all know what this YouTube's like.
Right.
So it's worse than a baby. It just needs feeding all the time. And I know because you edit. I mean, I just to get 10 minutes took me 5 hours the other night. I go, Jesus, I need to be paid. I need to start earning money from this. It's ridiculous. Like, it takes forever. People don't realise the amount of effort that goes into it.
Right. I had to ask the beard for help on my last one because I ended up needing to chop it up. And he was like, this is the most difficult video of yours we've ever edited. And it's one camera. You have one camera and because it had to be hacked up. And and even like the end of the video is just like, stay safe, stay classy. And it like stops because I was like talking, but I wasn't making sense anymore in the video because I was so tired.
Oh.
And
I work from 3. I've got a GoPro, a helmet, center, and my phone. I use my phone when I'm off the bike and interviewing people. I find my phone is the best.
That's awesome.
So I have three angles that I edit from. I love it though. I must admit, I love editing. So I could spend all day doing it, but it's getting content. You got to keep it all happening, and we're all trying to find this little thing that makes us a little bit different. And I watch all you guys, and I love it. I love what you do. And I go, well, how do I make me a little bit me? How do I get so I don't want to copy.
Yeah.
I want to do something different. So I sort of throw in other weird shit, it's not always about motorbikes. The last few have done about, me, my old puppeting days. When I used to have my hand up someone's bum. So I was a puppeteer for a little while. So I sort of threw bits of that in just to mix it up a little bit,
Well, and I think that's what keeps it interesting because no one wants to watch the same video 100 different ways that are just the same thing. And I love when you can add something extra that's you.
That's it. And I know, all those the motorbike views on the road. I think that's nice. But then after I go, okay, right, okay, I'm ready to look at something else now. I think just trying to find your niche in this this world that we're living in.
Absolutely.
It's like a baby. It needs feeding all the time.
And then I just go off the grid sometimes, and then everyone messages me and they're like, you good? And I'm like, oh, I'm good. I just didn't have anything to post. So
yeah, well, that's
here
it.
I am.
That's right. I mean, I'm off to Italy next week for 2 weeks, and I'll be riding a scooter in Positano, and on the way back, I'm stopping in Dubai, and I'm riding with some Indian riders in the United Arab Emirates.
That's awesome.
And I've met a great lady on Instagram, Widdy Rides. She's a lady that lives over there. She's on an Indian Scout. And she's a covered lady as well. Like, she's a covered lady, and she rides a motorbike with all these guys. So, straight away, this stereotype that I had in my mind about women in, the Arab countries being, like not doing that. I mean, it's just it's a bad thing. I know. I just stereotyped. She's just the most beautiful woman. And, she's a covered lady, but she gets on a Scout, sticks on the helmet, and away she goes. It's fabulous. Awesome. So I'm going to I wrote a story about her for an Australian magazine over here. I'm going to film and do a video story on her when I get over there.
That's awesome.
Beautiful lady. Yeah.
That's so cool. I'll have to check her out.
Widdy Rides, WIDDYRIDES, Widdy Rides.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Any other lady writers you want to shout out while we're talking about this? Any other badasses that you found that have just piqued your interest?
Well, it's probably mainly her at the moment, so I've been connecting with her quite a lot. I mean, all you guys, I've sort of found all you guys and those crazy 2 Kiwi writers. Aren't they the best? Oh my God, they did a beautiful song for me.
I heard.
Tune of Waltzing Matilda, but they did the Aussie and the Indian. I was so blown away. They just and I don't know her name.
Rel.
Sorry, what is
Rel.
it? Rel,
RELLE.
Oh, okay, that's exotic for New Zealand. Rel, very nice. Well, she's got the most beautiful face. I just love looking at her. She's just so beautiful. And then there's the other 2 ladies on your Momma Mafia mob. I'm watching them. I'm just following those ladies. So there's a few others as well. Who are they? There's the Sisters of Destruction. There's a couple of Aussie ladies. I just there's Girl Talk over here. Fabienne, she's good. There's a few of them. I just can't think off the top of my head.
That's okay.
All these crazy handles, whatever you call them. I know that's very 80s of me to say handle. It's a bit like 10-4, good buddy. But I am a child of the hippie era, so I don't know what the word is for that. What is the word now?
Mostly like username or like handle's actually a pretty good way to put it.
It's that, well, I say handle because that's something that reminds me of the handles that the truckers would have back in the day.
Mm-hmm. I was like, your CB handle and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, 10-4, good buddy. All those bad country songs came out of that. Pulling into the driveway, run over the dog. And what else are country songs made of?
I was like, that and beer. That's all.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So so that's my life really. I mean, it's I have got a clear plan I'm growing this for my retirement.
Mm-hmm.
So another 3 more years, my grandbabies will be a bit older, so I won't be quite as I'm very bonded to them at the moment, so I'd miss them too much if I was to ride off into the wilderness. So I need to be around for another few more years, and work-wise, and there's a whole bunch of reasons why 3 to 4 years is about the right time for me, and then I'm off. Just traveling. I mean, this country alone has got so much for me to discover.
Oh yeah.
And there's some great rides over here. It's a good climate, there's got so much going for it. But I do want to ride, I want to ride a Royal Enfield in India.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And I went to Japan not so long ago, and I got a Honda CB400, which, by the way, I felt I could pick up with one hand under my arm. It was so light compared to my bike. So I'd like to go to countries and ride the bike of that country. So I'd like to do Europe on a BMW, for instance, and I'd like to do the UK on a Triumph, and get to Italy, parts of Europe on maybe a Ducati or something like that, and certainly India, Royal Enfield. Maybe I'd like to do Vietnam as well on some chopped up Asian bike or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
America needs Calamity Jane.
America does need Calamity Jane.
And I need to spend 3 to 6 months when I do that to make it worth my while.
Absolutely. Well, while you're here, you always have a place to stay with us.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, there's a site on Facebook called it's like an Airbnb for bikers, but you don't pay. So it's a group. So there's people on there that say, look, this is where we live. If you're coming through, stay with us. So bikers post, look, I'm coming through. So I'm thinking I might do my whole map of America with a rough plan of where I'm going to be on what times, and just see how many people are on there that I can actually stay with and do stories about along the way.
That's awesome.
How many axe murderers can I end up?
and then come out alive.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think there'd be they wouldn't put themselves on there, I'm sure. But then again, there's some strange Uber drivers about.
Mm-hmm.
Our case over here about an Uber driver abducting someone.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I was like,
we have everything here that can kill you.
Well, yeah, all the giant spiders and lizards and
all that.
Sharks and all that.
We're all deadly. Watch out.
Oh, funny. Well, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for your time tonight for you. And I'm so grateful that you guys.
I'm so sorry I couldn't get this lighting a little bit better, but
it's all good. It looks great. So I'm so grateful for it. And I know that on behalf of all of the Momma Mafia, thank you so much. We're so excited to get to learn a little bit more about you. And I called dibs on you as soon as I could. I was like, hey, I'm stealing Aussie. And they were like, oh, okay.
Well, thank you. And I'm watching all you girls, and a big shout out to you girls. Do a great job as well. And I'll keep watching for sure.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just want to remind everybody, stay safe, stay sassy, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.